Josephine Bakhita was born around 1869 in the region of Darfur, in what is now Western Sudan. Saint Josephine Bakhita was not born into holiness. She was born into love. She grew up surrounded by family, warmth, and a life that knew joy before it ever knew fear. And then, before she was even 10 years old, that life was taken from her. She was abducted, stolen from her home, forced to walk hundreds of miles barefoot, and bought and sold again and again. The people who took her also took her name. She could no longer remember the name her parents had given her. Instead, she was called Bakhita, a word meaning fortunate, a name given not to honor her, but to erase who she had been. For years, she lived as property. Her body carried suffering that words could not explain. And yet, even then, she later said she felt that God was near, long before she knew his name. Eventually, she was sold again, this time to an Italian official. For the first time, she was not beaten. For the first time, she was treated as a person. When she was brought to Italy, something extraordinary happened. An Italian court ruled that slavery had never been legal where she was born. For the first time in her life, Josephine Bakhita belonged to herself. She was free. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Galatians 5:1. Freedom gave her a choice. She chose to remain with the Canossian sisters. She chose to learn. She chose faith, not because it was forced upon her, but because she recognized a God she had always felt but never known. She was baptized, she took vows, and she lived the rest of her life not in prominence, not in power, but in quiet service. In a world that had treated her as less than human, she refused to become hardened. Once, a student asked her what she would do if she met the people who had enslaved her. She answered without hesitation, "If I were to meet those who hurt me, I would kneel and kiss their hands, for if these things had not happened, I would not be a Christian today." This was not forgetting. This was not denial. This was freedom refusing to be ruled by bitterness. During her final hours, as her body weakened, her mind returned to the past. She cried out, "The chains are too tight. Please loosen them." And then she grew calm. Her last words were simple, "Our Lady, Our Lady." Josephine Bakhita died on February 8, 1947. Decades later, she was canonized and recognized as a saint. She is honored today as the patron saint of victims of human trafficking and modern slavery. Her life is not a story about suffering alone. It is a witness that dignity can survive even what was meant to destroy it. Saint Josephine Bakhita reminds us that freedom is not only the absence of chains, it is the refusal to let cruelty have the final word. May we remember the forgotten. May we protect the vulnerable. May we learn that true strength can be gentle.